Today we are logging footage. This video picks up where the second editing video left off. That is where I created the project and created the multicams and all of that and prepared to edit. Now I'm going to start editing. The movie is Big Trouble in Little China. And this is the intro, which is part one of the show. This includes the cold open and the reveal of the movie, a little bit of discussion of the movie, and then we throw to the couch where we watch the movie. So that's what we're going to do. And this is, I record these a little bit in advance, and this is the first one that I'm doing after the first editing video has been released. So I just want to say thank you for all of the attention and the comments. I'm really glad that it got such a positive response and so many views. So if you guys keep watching them, I'll keep making them. All right, the main keys we're going to be using to log our footage is I and O. That sets in and out points. And then we use L to move forward. Oh, got to activate the area there. We use L to move forward. We use J to move in reverse. And that's how we're going to do it. Now, what I just did, see, you go back and forth between your timeline and then up here. But if you click on here, let's say the scrub bar is there. If you click on here, it's really hard to hit that tiny scrub bar. And it can get really annoying. But you don't have to do that, because if you just click beneath, it sort of activates this area. You can see now it's highlighted, and then you can just hit the space bar or the L key, and it'll pick up exactly where the scrub bar is. So you don't have to fuss around with trying to get that exact spot. So let's go back to the beginning. And the beginning of this, and let's start logging. Now, I think I'm using that term correctly, logging. I'm just reviewing all the footage, and I'm taking everything that I think I'll use in the show and importing it into this timeline, the main big timeline. So finally, here we go, after all my babbling.
I'm one to not enjoy many.
No, me.
Yeah.
Many
Talking about
superhero
multicam here.
You know, Barbara
Talking about superhero movies, I believe we're talking about the movie Logan, which I just saw recently. Good stuff.
was a comic book movie, and you didn't really enjoy that either.
Yeah.
This is kind of pre-banter that we do sometimes. It gets caught on camera. This will not be used in the show, obviously, but yeah, it's a little interesting peek behind the scenes.
I put that in the episode, didn't I? That it was
you
based
did
on a comic book?
but we, and I think I said, well,
I'm going to fast forward this a little bit.
Batman
So you hit L twice and that fast forwards.
Mask of the Phantasm was our first superhero movie, but it was our second comic book movie if you count Japanese Akira. Oh yeah, it wasn't Akira. It was our third comic book movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Or panel storytelling, or graphic novel, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Yes. Want to do a show? Oh, why should we now?
Okay, want to do a show. I might keep that. So I am going to set my endpoint right there.
Want to do a show? It's a beautiful day out. Let's be in a basement.
Okay, Craig has made that comment quite a few times on the show, so I'm going to cut that part. I'm just going to cut it after I go, Once again, using the left and right arrow keys to navigate frame by frame. So, and then the option right bracket to cut that off. Great.
You always complain about that every summer.
Yeah, well.
A few episodes back.
Okay, we're starting the cold open, finally.
I gave a few episodes.
Oops, a little false start there.
A few episodes back, I took Ms. Amy Adams to task a little bit, and I just want to say that I'm an equal opportunity offender. So today, I'm going to talk about a male actor who fails to excite me, Miles Teller. What do you think of this guy?
Poor Miles Teller.
I thought he was amazing in The Spectacular Now and Whiplash. Those are the only two things I've seen him in, so I can't say anything beyond that.
Okay, so I cut that a little too soon, so what I'm just going to do is drag this to the right to the end of Craig's comments.
Can't say anything beyond that.
Okay, there we go, back up.
I'm not going to see Fantastic Four. I've listened to you all.
That's a nice comment, but I'm not quite sure. It's a little garbled.
Now and Whiplash, those are the only two things I've seen him in, so I can't say anything beyond that. I'm not going to see Fantastic Four. I've listened to you all.
I'm not going to use that. It's funny, but, you know,
I thought that Whiplash. Yeah. I thought that Whiplash was amazing, but I didn't think he was amazing. I thought he did a really good job, and he's really got that face and that demeanor of like, this is the innocent who's going to become corrupted, and we see that in War Dogs as well, a movie that he did with Jonah Hill, a movie I also did not like.
Who has the look of someone who is not innocent and will run into corruption.
Very good. So I look at the cold open to be about a minute and possibly less. It often goes over, but that's fine. The intro as a whole, I'm shooting for about 4 minutes. So sometimes I have to be very selective as to what goes in this, because I want it to be tight.
I'm coming for you, corruption!
Yeah, I'm not going to use that.
But he's got...
I'm coming for your corruption. That's a little button. But I think that Craig's initial point is funny enough that it doesn't need a button. So, no button. Skipping the button.
That baby face. He's got that baby face, and there's just nothing really exciting about him. And if there's a movie that I hear about and it's like starring Miles Teller, I'm not even sure I'm going to go watch it.
That's not exactly true, so I'm going to cut that last little bit.
It's like starring Miles Teller.
As you know, if you've watched these videos, you know I really dislike likes, so I'm going to try and get rid of it.
If there's a movie that I hear about and it's like starring Miles Teller, if there's a movie that I hear about and it's like...
Is that going to work?
If there's a movie starring Miles Teller,
That's great. And we're closing in on a minute here, so I better wrap this up.
I get what you're saying there. I'm trying to do that less as I get older. I'm trying not to discriminate on actors, but what you're saying, you're not going away from the movie. It's like, oh, Miles Teller. No. It's just not the bait to pull you in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Craig's got 2 good points there. I'm not sure I can use both of them, though, just for time.
Just saying there. I'm trying to do that. Just saying there. I'm trying to do that less as I get older. I'm trying not to discriminate on actors, but what you're saying, you're not going away from the movies.
Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to keep this.
Just saying there.
Wait, you didn't go back.
I get what you're saying there.
And this part I'm going to get rid of.
But what you're saying, you're not... But what you're saying...
Find that Y, that beginning of the you're. I'm going to cut all this.
I get what you're saying there. You're not going...
Nope. Probably lose a frame or 2.
I get what you're saying there. You're not going away...
There, I don't think I'm going to be able to get rid of that pop, so I'm going to smooth it out with my little ball tool. I don't know what it's called. I call it the ball tool. Take that ball, +1.
You're not... I get what you're saying there. You're not going away...
Yeah, it's like a little tiny crossfade, I guess. Get rid of that space.
You're not going... When?
Exactly.
You're not going away from the movie. It's like, oh, Miles Teller.
No.
It's just...
Getting rid of that. It's like...
Away from the movies. Away from the movie.
Craig kind of doesn't finish the word movie, so it's not going to sound ideal.
It's like, oh.
The lengths I go to take out these little pieces of minutia. I don't know. Maybe I'm too fussy. No, that's not true. I'm fussy enough.
From the movie. Oh, Miles Teller.
No.
It's just not the bait to pull you in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Great. All right, let's keep on logging.
Is there a male actor that you can think of that instills these feelings of ennui?
Well, I've talked about Henry Fonda and Gary Cooper. I don't avoid Henry Fonda movies because so many of them are essential.
You can see the frustration on my face for this reason.
Do you have anyone who, besides those guys who we've talked about already?
Great question.
That's funny, but I don't think it would be funny in the show, and it's also a callback to a different episode, which I avoid those as much as I can because I want each episode to be modular, and I don't want to. I don't want new viewers to think they're coming late to the party, or that there's lots of inside jokes flying around. So yeah, not going to use that.
For a while, I had Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill was someone who I was like, but that was an active dislike of him.
Yeah.
But now I like him. I
It's hard not to like him after Moneyball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I like that part. I don't know how I'm going to cut it up, or even if I'm going to use it, but I'm going to put it down on the timeline for right now and keep on moving.
The male? No. But I very rarely want to watch a Meryl Streep movie.
I seem to remember this Meryl Streep thing doesn't really go anywhere.
Which is very strange to say because she is technically, arguably,
I'm going to fast forward.
the best actor in the world. But very rarely does she do a project where I'm like, it's like, oh, man, she sings, she's going to be in a musical. It's like, no, not that. You know, it's like, oh, she's playing the Iron Lady, she's playing,
You really like the Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, I like movies that she's in.
Yeah.
just like you probably like Miles Teller.
Going back to
like
Amy
Adams, yeah. When I'm watching her, yeah, I like her. But when I went to see Into the Woods, I didn't watch it because Meryl Streep was in it. I watched it because it's a Stephen Sondheim musical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he makes I don't think he makes a strong case, so I'm not going to use that, and that would make the cold open way too long. So moving on.
Miles Teller.
Meryl Streep.
Okay. As I recall, we came up with like maybe two different endings, and this is one of them. So I'm going to keep this.
Miles Teller.
Obviously, cut the Meryl Streep thing because I cut that entire conversation. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Poor Miles Teller. I'm really giving it to him with both barrels. He's a good actor. I mean, of course he's a good actor. You wouldn't know his name if he wasn't. But, I got to express opinions. Opinions are, what this show is all about.
Life's too short to hate.
I don't hate.
I know.
I'm not hating.
I know.
I'm just saying, making that exact point here in the video.
Just like people you just don't want to hang out with. It's like, oh yeah, he's a really nice guy, but I would never call him. It's like, I don't want to hang out at a bar with him. If I ran into him in a bar, I'd be like, I'd have a drink with him, but I wouldn't.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that I wouldn't call him. And of course, life's too short to hate.
Life's too short to hate.
I don't hate.
I know.
I'm not hating.
I know. Just like people you just don't want to hang out. Just like people.
Actually, in this case, I think I'm going to keep the like.
Just like people you just don't want to hang out with. It's like, oh yeah, he's a really nice guy. It's like oh yeah, he's a really nice guy, but I would never call him.
Okay, so that's the second ending. So I might use one and not the other. I might use both. I might do something else. But right now we're moving on.
We are still rolling. What's our time?
The reason I'm asking what's our time is because shooting on the Canon 5D, it only shoots in like 10 or 11 minute segments. After, I think the maximum length is 11 and a half minutes. The camera will shut off because there's a certain element of it. If it shoots for longer than that, it gets damaged. So Tona constantly has to be stopping and starting the cameras while we're shooting, especially during the movie. So that's why I ask that, because if we start to get on a roll in a conversation and then Tona has to stop and start in the middle of it, that is not good. So I often ask her what our status is with that. Right now I am composing the intro to the show in my head. Look at the thought.
It's all.
Oh, there I go.
Awesome.
And you know what? Actually, it looks like it's about time for me to go get a cup of coffee and take a break. And thank you for watching. These are coming out every Monday for the duration. So I will see you next Monday. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.